Hi Sag, thank you for being here. We're doing your June reading. Let's see what we have for my Sagittarius people. Ooh. First card out, the Tower. We also got the Five of Pentacles and the Ten of Swords. Okay. So, I won't lie, this is some heavy emotional energy that seems to be consuming you a bit here. For some reason too, I'm getting that like you came to terms with an ending, but it's like you already knew it was over, but like you kind of kept trying to hold on to it, and kind of like holding on to like one tiny beam of light that it might turn around, or whatever the situation was, like it might turn out how you ideally hoped it would, but I think in your heart you knew. And something happened to just like really fully remove that last beam of hope from the situation. And you just had to come to terms with this fact that like the completion has occurred and it is completely out of your control. And all you can really do is surrender to the situation. But it does have you feeling like someone isn't seeing your value, someone isn't seeing your light. And there is a sense of, I wouldn't say betrayal. I don't know if that's the right word. But it's a sharp emotional pain that you seem to be enduring at the moment, or will be sort of healing that residual hurt from the situation in June. Just is going to depend on the person, but it's definitely still in your energy. And the reason why it's coming up right now is because it needs to be looked at. And I know that's not easy, but it does need to be looked at. Oh, okay. So a few cards came out that are positive. So let's look at those. We have Justice, Ace of Pentacles, and the Star. So what that tells me is if you do, I think this came up in the collective reading that I did, but I'm getting this message again, but it's like I was talking about how the universe always gives you a gift when you're brave, and when that bravery comes from a good place. And so, sorry about the noise outside. Every time I start a reading, like everyone starts like building a house outside of my window. Okay, so when your bravery comes from a good place, and it's really about you just trying to do the right thing, even when it hurts or even when it sucks or whatever, the universe is always going to give you a gift for that. It's going to kind of help you with that. And I think with Justice here, it's like a completion is a balancing out, right? Because like once you get to, it's kind of like too, like in relationships, it's like the scales will kind of ebb and flow, and like when the scales are this way, we got to bring them back, but maybe they go a little this way, and then it's like once they are balanced, it's like that's when completion comes. And sometimes the balance is unity, but sometimes the balance is separation, and that's just how life is, and that's just how connections are and relationships are. And it seems like from the first three cards that the balance was separation, the balance was not unity, and that hurts, but it's just what needs to occur. So Justice coming in, it's telling you that that is what needs to happen, because there is, the Ace of Pentacles, I always see it as a gift. It's something that you can touch and feel and see. Being a coin, it's so earthy and so grounded. And it's not able to come in because you see how all these clouds are here. Like you got to move those clouds out of your aura for the gift to come into you. And so, or come in for you. And I think the recent past has been a lot of this, just like reconciling with what occurred and trying to give space for your emotions to come up and move through you. And that's the clouds, you know, sort of falling away and letting this earthy gift finally show itself to you. And you really wouldn't be able to receive it without this ending, or without whatever occurred that made you feel low and confused and a little discouraged, it feels like. But you're coming out of that. And I think June's gonna, there are gonna be days in June that prove it to you, where you're like, oh, that's why that had to happen. Or I wouldn't have been able to meet this person if I was still spending time with this person. You know, there's gonna be a lot of that happening in June. And the star is just a very comforting card to see in a reading like this, because it guarantees your healing is on its way, and it's not without the work that you have to put in, for sure. But I also think you're going to be aided along with this because of the bravery that you've shown the universe. It's like, at the end of the day, like, we tend to attach ourselves to things that aren't good for us, but if our deep down intention is to be the best version of ourselves, then we tend to take these changes with a lot more grace. So I see you doing that. I see you kind of, regardless of everything, you are handling this with grace. Okay, I'm gonna pause the reading so I can close my window, because I don't know what's going on outside. So I will be right back. Okay, much better. So let's keep going. Two of Swords. I feel like you're gaining appreciation for the duality of a situation, and it's really an art form when you're balancing light and dark, and when you are using the shadow for progression. And I think that's key here in this situation for you. There is, without a doubt, a shadow aspect coming to the surface in whatever situation this is. It seems like it's involved with another person, but it doesn't have to be romantic. It could be a family member or a friend. There was some sort of falling out, some sort of completion, some sort of ending. And you are now in the aftermath of it, and you're trying to pick up the pieces, and you're trying to move forward, but you're gaining a sense of appreciation for the duality in June. And it's like, it's so key to recognize the shadow aspect. The shadow aspect of a situation, it needs to be sometimes put on a pedestal, because it is what created this ending or completion. And so it has power, and it doesn't mean that you need to keep giving it power, but you do need to recognize what the shadow aspect is, whether it's in yourself or a result of a connection or in the other person. But I think a lot of people tend to look away from the shadow and bury it deep down and just sort of hope that it doesn't come up again, but it will. And so honoring the shadow aspects of yourself and digging into them and having the bravery. It's a lot of this is about bravery too, because it seems like with the Five of Pentacles and the Ten of Swords, like, you were hurt. Like, I do think, and then having justice come in after that, like, I do think there was not justice fully in this situation, and someone may have done you wrong. But we can't just walk away from every situation thinking about what the other person did wrong to us, because that is not conducive at that point. To fully heal, it's almost like, for lack of a better way to say this, just see everything as your fault almost, because that's where the most growth comes from. So if you can just pick apart and see every which way that maybe you didn't fully show up, or you could have done this better, or you wish you said that instead, or you wish you put your boundaries up, or you wish you stood up for yourself, like, it's kind of the time to think about those things. because there's a lot of newness coming in. And when the newness comes in, which it will, Knight of Swords, it's coming in fast too. You want to be in a place where you're familiar with your shadow and you're not scared of it, and you use it for growth. And it's like, you know, when you just meet someone and they just know themselves and they own the parts of themselves that they don't quite like and that they're still working on. Like, there's a power in that, like it radiates. And so it's just a message in like owning your dark side and not letting it control you. The Hanged Man. Yeah, a lot of surrendering. Surrender is a big theme for you in June, I believe. And it's like, again, surrendering to the shadow aspects. Because, yeah, the world. I mean, if you don't surrender to your shadow aspects and you don't honor them and you don't heal them and you don't have control over them, you're just going to repeat a similar cycle in a completely different way. And unfortunately, when that happens, we don't even realize it until it's over. And you don't want that for yourself, and the universe doesn't want that for you either. And I don't see you letting that happen with the world, because it's a complete turn into another direction. It's a new time, it's a new era. It doesn't have room for the past, the old. Yeah, lots of swords. So a lot of mental static, but Ace of Swords is clarity and newness. Ace of Pentacles, Ace of Swords, the world, like a new era wants to come in. And whenever that happens, there's a lot of clearing that takes place. And the clearing stage is rough. It is people falling out of your life, new people coming in, unexpected changes, unexpected shifts. I mean, it's a lot. And so I feel for you, Ace of Cups. But you're gonna be fine. There's a lot of aces here. There's a lot of healing here. There's a lot of fresh perspectives and rejuvenation and a newfound sense of hope, which is really beautiful. And so I don't see you repeating this cycle, because I feel like you're at a point where it's just like you don't have the capacity for that again anyway. And so it's a lot of taking control and owning up to your own wrongdoings, because it's so easy to, you know, like, I don't know if it's just speaking for women, and I'm sure men have this occurrence as well in the dating process, but if I meet a man and he is speaking poorly about his ex, or that typical, like, my ex is crazy, like, that is a big red flag, because it doesn't matter what that person did to you. If you can't take accountability for how you could have been better as well, or just the simple fact of the fact that if you deal with someone who you think is crazy or toxic or whatever, well, it says something about you that you endured that for so long, or that you put yourself in that position, or that you didn't walk away sooner. I'm not saying that's shameful, because we all do it, but take accountability. And so I think you're realizing that, and you're seeing that in this situation, and that is really your power. So I'm going to leave it there, Sagittarius. I hope you have a great June.